Sitting here with Samson and the remnants of his peanut butter, and little girl as well. She's sitting down. Her peanut butter's gone. Okay, so welcome. Greetings and salutations. Real quick, if you haven't been here before, I'm just somebody in her bedroom with her dogs, trying to do my small part. It's the very least that I can do. But something that I can do is to use my words and the words, the words that I speak. My gift for words, but lately they're lacking me because, looking around at the state of things, it's a little wild, to say the least. So real quick, the disclaimers are already in the description box. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a legal professional. No part of this video or any of the videos are medical advice, nor are they legal advice. But I am a citizen who is obligated to do my own due diligence, meaning research, into the topics that affect me on a daily basis and become my own advocate, and I would recommend other people do the same. If you're seeking medical or legal advice, please go to your chosen quote-unquote expert in the field. Okay, so that's done. That's a mouthful to say out loud, but we're gonna need it today. So if you're new here, a lot of this is gonna appear like speculation. And I would ask that you just hang out for a minute or two, give me a chance to explain the overall picture, because today there's going to be a lot of dots connected, and I don't know, after videos like the last few, if people aren't making the connections on their own. Only God can do that for them. I do come from a belief system that is rooted in Catholicism, traditional Catholicism, sort of, but not completely. And I walked away from organized religion for about 20 years and got caught up in some occult practices, and God radically called me out of that right after the last eclipse and asked that I do something. And I promised that I would do something, and I never make promises that I don't keep, because we're not supposed to make oaths. But I promised that I would speak on the things that he shows me and the things that he gives to me to say. And so that's why I do this. But I also do it for love of God, country, and family. And that pretty much sums it up. My daddy's roots are French, and that creates an inner conflict because the storming of the Bastille was bittersweet, and France is a real big part of Catholic history, Catholicism. I personally have a few beliefs that are fringe beliefs and outside of the Catholic, traditional Catholic view, and I think that's okay. I think we need to be open, because I think a lot of things are going to come out, and people should be preparing their souls and hearts, and that's what I do here, is try to prepare your soul, because I'm not a prepper. Samson, I do have some skills that I can pass along, and I offer tidbits. Sam, he has the worst manners. I am so sorry. I try to skip this part and start the video after the drink, but it never syncs up that way. And I'd rather be on time, because punctuality is important. Samson, you done? Yeah? I think people might think you're a warthog and not a lab bully. Lay down, buddy. Lay down. Alright, so let's get started. Welcome, if you've listened to the little intro there. So I don't really know where to begin. It's very strange. I picked up a book yesterday to read off my shelf, and it's Bacon's essay, and it's a collection of essays done by Sir Francis Bacon, who some people argue is also Shakespeare, who also had a hand in the KJV, some say. And so Things get mucky. But I picked up this book and I just picked out a page to start at, and it's of seditions and troubles. And it's all about, it's telling you the reason basically that the storming of the Bastille took place. And I just want to read a brief part of that. Not everybody understands how things used to be written, but I think everyone will be able to relate to this, and I highlighted it. And it's a book from like 1835. I have a collection of things. That's the other thing I do. I figure if things fall apart, I have some of our history here. So the causes and motives of seditions, and seditions are like revolts basically, but it's what happens before a revolt. I don't even know how to explain it. The causes and motives of seditions are innovation in religion, taxes, alteration of laws and customs, breaking of privileges, sound like lockdowns, general oppression, peer pressure to get certain injectables, advancement of unworthy persons, kind of how people hate the elite now. That's exactly how the French felt about the royalty, the royal class, okay? And that's why I'm reading this to you, is so you understand where we are headed. And mark my words, you already know the family that I'm fingering for the AC, and things are about to roll out because I don't believe, and I've, again, a lot of this is going to sound like speculation, but it comes from prayer and time alone with God. It comes from God. God's still working, and that's why I do this, is to show people that, because our lives are being radically changed, and most of us don't even realize it until after it occurs, and by then it's too late to do anything. So the causes of motives and seditions, like uprisings, okay, are innovation in religion, meaning radical religion, changing religion, taxes, meaning inflation, alteration of laws and customs, breaking of privileges, general oppression, advancement of unworthy persons, strangers, dearths, disbanded soldiers, factions grown desperate, and whatsoever in offending people joineth and knitteth them in a common cause. It's telling you how uprisings begin and revolutions begin and why. So I want to show you something else. Now, again, all this stuff is connected. It all leads in together. And I don't believe in censorship, but I do have the comments off right now. I will turn them on after the video. I want to show you this. I looked something up because I remember it from history class. I remember reading about the Civil War. My dad and uncle were Civil War junkies, and my uncle wrote a book on the Civil War. So they were always talking about it, right? And one of the things that happens if you've watched any war movie is that during times of war, if soldiers come through your area, they can overtake your property at any time. Everything that's in it, on it, your garden, the things you grow, okay? The homesteads that are out there, all that stuff, all right? So I wanted to read you just a brief part of this. War disrupts economies and brings tremendous population dislocations. Woe came to families or farmers who found themselves in the way of advancing armies. Despite stringent warnings against such behavior from officers on both sides, farms and homes were often plundered, like Vikings, right? Soldiers took grain, livestock, or whatever goods they needed. Now, I'm starting very superficially. Some of you that stumble upon this video might think this is too deep, but it's not deep enough. This is just the bare surface. Now, today we saw, if you haven't caught it yet, a bridge was basically taken out by a cargo ship. They're saying it wasn't terrorism, okay? That's what they're saying, that it wasn't anything like that. So I want to make that very clear. I once read a book, and it talked about the grid going down, and the reason it went down is because our infrastructure was attacked. Because our land is too valuable for any one nation to want to, how do I say this sensitively? Destroy it, right? Purposely. The land is very valuable because it's bountiful, right? Look at the middle. I mean, Dubai. Look what they've done with Dubai. I mean, it's beautiful there. They've got greenery and they have running water, right? So who knows with the things that we are told. But the land is valuable and you can grow most anything, or at least you could for a while. I will touch on biblical verses to bring this all together and bring it all home. I hope that you hang around and watch. And if you understand the way I'm speaking and the connections, or at least the order that I'm showing you these things in, please consider giving me the thumbs up. That's for me personally. The channel's not monetized, obviously. It won't be monetized. It's greatly suppressed, and I get a lot of trolls. And I have dealt with a lot of stalking in my real life. If you've been here a while, you know that. You know why I do this. You know there was assault, battery, all kind of strangeness. And I've started documenting some of the strangeness just because, again, it's not about me, but it's about letting you know what's happening. It is very superficial to talk about war, but I believe we are in a proxy war. We are in a propaganda war right now. And I once read a book about them coming at us and taking out valuable parts of the infrastructure, meaning trains, places that you would import and export, which, ports, okay, and bridges to get from one place to the other to block areas off. And also, as I've said a million times again before, because I've dealt with it, internet rerouting. So basically, you're kept to your own home area, or you're put on a dead internet. So you think you're talking to people, but you're not. I believe the news is on some kind of loop, some of it. Mainstream is paid off. Project Mockingbird, if you don't know what it is, look it up. It's real. This stuff is real. And I think it goes a lot deeper than that, even. But let's get to it, because I want to show you, this is not me putting a spin on things. This is me showing you what's out there and saying, okay, this is what's happening. Now, I nuked the other channel on my own. I destroyed it. I shut it down. I didn't realize what was going to happen. It's still running. I still post stuff over there. But I wiped out my subscriber base. I didn't think it would wipe out that. But over 200,000 people or views. People had a chance to see the full message. And now all this stuff is coming into fruition. That's kind of why I started another channel as well. It's very surreal to watch. And it's very heartbreaking. If you love your country, I would hope that you would agree. So what we're going to look at now, first, I think, yeah, is we're going to look at this story. And I know that, on the surface, it looks weird and it sounds weird. I can turn comments on, but please don't be goobers. Oh, good morning. Welcome. I get a lot of trolls. What can I say? It happens. So, let's see. I know it looks weird, right? Like it looks like a fake story, but it's really not. And it reminds me of capybara syndrome, okay? Remember when I told you guys, when all this started, my family, completely changed one day overnight. Now, I have a reason that I think this, and I have a whole slew of explanations as far as how this would happen. And it's all over the channel. If you haven't put it together, if you haven't been here, you can see the whole story if you just check a few videos out. Excuse me, I'm still getting over something here, and the weather here is terrible. It reminds me of capybara syndrome. It was like they created capybara syndrome. I had never heard of it. And again, I have a background in healthcare, and I've worked in cell phone technology, and I've worked for financial institutions, and I've worked in the food industry. So I have a unique ability to see the situation as it's unfolding. And I told everybody since the last eclipse, I've been warning people, this is what's coming. This is going to happen. And again, it's not about me. It's about changing what we're doing, being more cautious with what we do, being aware of our surroundings, and just overall being grateful for every day and not taking anything for granted, and doing even the smallest thing you can that day to be selfless. Because a lot of things that are going to befall us, it's going to be because of our materialism here in the West. It's hedonism. Oh, my left ear is ringing. Like, no, that's not true. Well, actually, it's going to be happen because of stem cell research and Roe versus Wade. That's what's going to happen. Thank you. But it's all connected. So, capybara syndrome made its appearance several years ago, probably around 2018 when all this stuff happened, and I went over all that. Some of us, especially women though, have had the ability to the discernment to look at certain people and say, okay, there's something wrong. That person is not that person anymore. There's something going on there. And I laugh because I'm going to have to show you some ridiculous pictures. And I feel bad about it. I don't know these people. I'm not judging them. Okay. This is us evaluating the symbolism that is taking place and manifesting physically in our world, but also looking at the damage control that it's being done to like hide the truth. And it's laughable to me. I'm sorry. And so here we go. This is new. But look, how wild is this? Everybody's covering it. Everybody, from the New York Post to CNN to the Sun to Yahoo to Fox. Everybody's covering it. And I just saw it and I was like, and I don't watch TikTok. Let me be clear about that. Somebody asked me on the channel to make a channel, and I did make one, but I've never done a thing with it, and I always delete everything that I get from there. But look at how saturated the web is with stories about this. Okay? This screams agenda all over it, and that's something else I'm trying to do, is to show the older people maybe who don't use the internet a lot and don't get out a lot, and the younger generation who is willing to stop and listen to something maybe outside of their own personal paradigm. We have to throw away those things right now, especially because there is high strangeness to the max out there. So they're calling this, and I can't even read that, but hold on. A rare disorder makes people think they're seeing demon-like faces everywhere, with people's eyes and mouths stretched out, ears pointed, and deep grooves carved into their faces. Called, okay, prosopometaphormos, okay, prosopometamorphoposia. Okay. The disorder was recently diagnosed in a 59-year-old man, according to a study published in The Lancet. We're going to have to do the etymology on parts of this word, break it out in like syllables, and then do the etymology and figure out what each one of those things means originally, because I have a feeling it would be wild too. Okay, so I can't believe I'm covering this. This is so bizarre to me. I have to say, we're going to look at some images, and it's just this is exaggerated, okay? But I'm going to pull somebody very specific up, and I'm not cracking on this person because I care about everybody, so I pray for pretty much everybody. But I see the patterns that are occurring, especially in women, okay? You'll see a pregnant woman who kind of bloats up more than you think is normal for that person, right? I experienced that myself, so I'm not cracking, honest. But they look a little extra, right? And then they only have one child. It's only one baby or whatever. But then they get really skinny. And there are two high-profile celebrities that I'm thinking of right now. I'm not cracking on them, but I want to show you This right here, they're exaggerating it. And I'm going to show you what it looks like, all right, on a few celebrities. And it's the lips are weird because in the movie Witch, they like open their mouths really wide. Yeah, it gets wild. So let's just I don't want to do this, but I don't know any other way to do this, and I covered her already. And I honestly don't know that her spirit is still in that body, because you just see the vibrancy in her whole life. And then you look at her now, and obviously her family, I hope, has stepped in at some point, because she is way too thin, in my opinion. But if you look at her comment sections, people all over are saying how great she looks. And I don't know what they're looking at. I don't know how they can look at this once vibrant, beautiful woman. And yes, I know women age. I'm not saying that. Okay? And I know that we say, oh, plastic surgery this, plastic surgery that. Again, let me show you the pattern. The dark glasses become key. They are seen a lot. And these are the best pictures. If you go to her Instagram, I've already done that with you guys. It's scary. It's frightening to see what's happening, and nobody is stepping in or has stepped in for her. Okay? But again, it gets weird, all right? Now, let me look at another one that's a little... She was actually in the movie Witches. Now, when I talk about the mouth part, that's kind of what I'm talking about, like those curves over it, or if you look at... I don't want to get too caught up in this because I'm going to lead somewhere else. Now, usually it's in more current images. It's easier to see. Right here, maybe. See the edges of the mouth? Now everyone is, oh, it's just plastic surgery. It's just this. It's just that. All of the women at this point in time are starting to, if it's just plastic surgery, why are they all looking so bizarre at this time? If you look at her current stuff, some of the videos, she goes from looking like that, overblown, real bloated, right? Real chunky, to all of a sudden really thin. Was that even? Yeah, that's her. No, that's not her. Is that her? I can't even tell. I can't even tell because in every picture they show of her, she looks completely different. And people will say, okay, filters. Sure. But even in concerts that they show, and she's got the big glasses on, the big sunglasses. Okay, are they replacing people? What is going on? Now, the next person I'm going to show you, I don't know if I no, let's skip that person for right now because I'm going to have to talk about them a little bit later. Okay, so again, this is everywhere. So this man is the alleged person who sees demon-faced people. Theories behind what causes demon-face syndrome that has been described like living in a horrible movie. This bloke suddenly saw his flatmate looking like a demon. Just 75 people in the world are known to experience the demon-face syndrome, and one of them has said it's like living in a horror movie. What does that say? And I thought I was the only one noticing this. No, dude, you have no idea. Like mine, you have no idea. I saw everybody in my circle get the black eyes, and I like bounced for a weekend to go to PA to visit family thinking it was just me, and the same thing happened there when they got worked up and they got me into a high sense of agitation and fear. And then God stepped in and I repented of a whole lot of things even more. And, but I still, you still notice, you still see all the traits, the big black glasses in the day, or not the daytime, inside, indoors, at night. Everybody wants the blue lights everywhere. Just so happens that that frequency is like 6.6. I already did a video on that. So all of this stuff And again, people are going to stumble on this video and they think it's science fiction. They're working or they're going about their normal life and they're not making all these connections. And I know because I've been caught up in like autopilot before when I was working. We are in the Revelations. Yes, I'm well aware. Again, please go over the channel to see certain things. I've already yeah, I started tribulation like a year before everybody else in a dramatic way. And have oh, I missed some of that. I apologize. Yeah, that's what happened to me. God woke me up in a radical way, gave me some dreams slash encounters with angels and fallen angels in my daily life. Before I knew any better, let one into my home. And I thought this person was just on drugs. Like, not that that's a good thing, but I was in healthcare before. And so, like, I automatically went to, like, okay, like, just being like, whatever until, right? Like, just agreeing with the person. But then immediately I lost the rest of that evening. Like, lost time. And I didn't have that a lot in my life before. But now looking back, like, I've always had kind of a supernatural life, but God asked me to be a witness, and so here I am. Anyways, that's enough about that. Okay, so to be fair, walking the streets and seeing every other human looking like a goblin sounds absolutely terrifying. Victor Shara suffers from the extremely rare neurological condition called that thing, or PMO, since his symptoms first began back in November 2021. Yeah, these guys got nothing on me. Like, I talked to fallen angels, man. Like, are you kidding? I told everyone this was coming. Florida is a very strange place. All of this began for me down there, and the weekend I was down there, one of those spirals was caught in the sky, and the water turned red. So yeah, it was weird. The 59-year-old noticed his roommate walking past with a demon face, and then when he went out to walk his dog, realized so did every other human. Okay, this is like the most insane level of damage control that I think I have ever seen. Okay, has cosmetic surgery turned us into aliens? They're, dude, I swear it's like I'm on a billboard somewhere, like Truman in New York or something, and they're just everything that God has given me is like happening now. Like it's God. Like, God is trying to talk to us, and the 8th is coming pretty quick. We are in it, gang, and you better start looking around you at what's going on, because some of us have been being covertly, allegedly persecuted since right after the last eclipse. So, and nobody listened, just like that alleged quote from World War II about the Jews. Man, I went to the churches, they wouldn't help me. I went to friends and family, they wouldn't help me. I went to neighbors, they wouldn't help, they wouldn't listen to me. Everybody thought I was crazy and having a breakdown because I'm just that honest about things. I'm just that, I don't know. Word vomit I get. I say it's the Holy Spirit, so please don't make fun of me. The American bloke told the Times, I thought, what the heck did I just see? It was like something out of Star Trek, like a demon face. Shara was freaking out so much that he said he was going to have himself committed. And what did I tell you about the asylums? Why are all the YouTubers doing videos about all the old asylums? And why are they saying now that if you have a religion, if you're religious, that you have a mental issue? Now remember, the problem with all of this, the reason, why are they doing damage control, guys? Do you know? They don't want you to know that you have a choice. We have sovereignty, okay? We tread on the heads of serpents. In the hierarchy, we are above them. We do not have to do anything they tell us. However, you have a choice. Christ was a pacifist. Peter cut off the one guy's ear. I thought it was John, but I think I heard the other day it was actually Peter. I'll have to read the Gethsemane garden part again, but that one part always makes me sad. This is damage control, and I've never seen anything like this. As much research as I do for doing stuff on here, I have never, ever seen every outlet cover the same thing within the same 24-hour period. This is wild. I'm glad I found you. Are you in here every morning? If God puts it on my heart, yes. That's just kind of what like God says to witness, and so I see and I speak, and I pray before every stream, just to get myself straight. And I don't know if that makes you feel better or worse. I just figured I'd tell you. All right, so we're gonna segue from this. I showed you the women, right? I showed you the pattern of the pregnant women. Well, I didn't show you that it's a pattern. So now we're gonna look at this lady. And I have to bring her up because she's a part of the pattern. What state am I in? Northeast Ohio, where all the devil's in Ohio, and Netflix was not kidding about that. Okay, so she had her pregnancy. Let me see if I can. And she looked adorable, like most women. So did Jessica Simpson. But then something happens. Like, there's a clear change in, like, form and figure, and she looked very strange in the Oprah video, even though she was preggo. I thought her face looked a little fixed by like tech, right? I'm wondering, is that really her sitting there? I don't know what's going on. All right. And they get really big, right? Like some of us do at the end. But it gets really pronounced, and I'm saying that for a reason because of, and I'll bring it up when I show you the Bible verse. All right, now what happens after? Okay, she's really, really, really very thin now too. Like very, very thin. And again, they're going to show you her best pictures. But if you see some of the video where there's no airbrushing being done, you can see that there is a lot going on there. I want to see her out and about, though. See, this isn't any of the pictures that I... Very, very thin. And if you... The lips, it gets a whole look, right? A whole thing. The face, the lips. Alright, let me see if I can catch one. And I always I didn't have a problem with her. I thought she was a sweet girl, sweet looking girl. I don't know her personally. I don't follow celebrities as a rule. It's just not something I do. Okay, here's another one. And this will be the last one I show about this because I'm going to segue into the second part of this, which gets a little difficult as well. Now, she was recently caught out with one of her daughters. I think Shiloh. Is Shiloh? I don't know the pronouns. Honestly, I'm sorry. Is she... Oh, she's dressed... Okay, I don't know what she's doing. Beautiful person. Beautiful people. There we go. However, again, it's a certain look, okay? And I don't want to do this again because I don't want to sound like I'm signaling anyone out or anything. So we're gonna look at a few things. And we're gonna say, what does this have to do with this and this have to do with this? I just gave you a little peek there. So let's go here. For anyone who's new to the Bible, I suggest, I mean, it's very late to like be reading the Bible and learning about it. This is Mark 13. But woe to those who are pregnant or nursing in those days. Okay? Because it tells you what's going to happen. When you have heard of wars and rumors of wars, you should not be afraid, for these things must be, but the end is not so soon. Nation will rise up against nation. We're seeing that. Kingdom over kingdom. Okay, that's royalty, or it can also be spiritual, as in the dark kingdom and the kingdom of God. And there shall be earthquakes in various places and famines. These are but the beginning of the sorrows. We've seen a lot of earthquakes get really wild the last few years. In fact, one happened in 2017 in Mexico, a pretty big one. Right, again, around the kickoff event, I guess. But see to yourselves, for they will hand you over to councils, meaning prosecutions, and in the synagogues you will be beaten, and you shall stand before governors and kings because of me as a testimony for them. And the gospel must first be preached to all nations. And when they have seized you and handed you over, do not consider advance what to say. It gets into all this. Brother against brother, your family will be against each other, right? Now, it's saying all these things are going to happen. Woe to those who are pregnant or nursing in those days. Now, Revelation is not in chronological order. Let me say that again. Revelation is not in chronological order. Some of that has already happened. I know a lot of people hate the Catholic Church. That is by design. What do you think? Do you think Satan is going to... He's going to leave alone the churches that don't matter, the ones that aren't legitimate. But there's also fake persecution happening because, again, he's faking everything, right? And the bad guys are very likely going to point at people like me and say, heretic, mentally ill, criminal, even. Okay? Why woe to those who are pregnant or nursing in these days? Remember when the formula ran out? All this stuff is like manifesting in ways that I didn't know it was going to happen. Truly pray that these things may not happen in winter because you're not supposed to travel during the winter. Let's compare real quick. How dreadful it will be in those days for pregnant women. Woe to them who are nursing babies. Okay? Why, though? Why does it say all that? Now, I've read parts of 2nd Esdras before. It's an apocrypha book. There's a reason the Protestants removed a lot of the books, and I'm not going to get into a religious argument. We're seeing a holy war happen right now. Again, nobody is seeing it. That is what's happening. Your neighbors and your friends, those who are being isolated, who don't have families, who are true believers, are very likely being prosecuted or persecuted in ways that seem mundane by the HOA, the housing authority, right? By whoever watches over their apartment complex, okay? By their neighbors, okay? By people who are from the Rainbow Hijack Club, the nasty ones, okay? And I'm not saying they're all like that. But Satan has made his army, and he has drug humanity, parts of humanity, in with him. And there are fallen angels walking amongst us. You can call them aliens. I don't give a hoot what you call them. The Nephilim, I refer to them as the Nephilim brats. I can't deal with them. They're very low-level intelligence. They mock everything. And they act like 5-year-olds. And a lot of this is them having fun. They think it's funny. We have to be careful, though, because if you want to be forgiven, we have to forgive. So, again, even Christ, he did not have the patience for the Pharisees. And I'm not saying I'm Christ. I'm just saying I am way less than Christ, and I cannot deal with certain elements of what's happening because I've already dealt with it. And it has tainted me in ways that you cannot imagine, that only God can remove, but I don't think he is going to while I'm still on this side of the veil, because it's how I repent. It's why I repent. And the children of a year old. Now, how weird does this sound? And this has a lot to do with what I'm talking about the women getting very big very fast. I was off and on of social media for a long time, but not that long. And women had children women who I thought were pregnant when I jumped off of social media had those babies and were pregnant again. And these aren't young women, like normally, you know. Now I have to get personal for a minute. Again, at the beginning of my testimony, one of the things that was asked of me was, "Oh, you know, you want to have another child, this, that, and the other." And I said, "Why are you asking me this? You are the one who agreed that I should have tubal ligation, that like I should not have any more children." I did not know at the time that's against God, so please don't come at me. I'm repenting for so many things. And again, I know that word is going to make this video not very popular. All it means is a change of course, man. And if I'm driving a car and I see it's going to go headlong into a highway full of other cars that are going the other way and they're going to hit me, or I'm a train, right, and I'm about to go into a brick wall, if I can fix that, I'm going to fix that, right? It just makes sense. It's just good logic. So the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. The women with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 or 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. In the show Supernatural, again, I use pop culture and current events to show that the Bible is true. That's how I operate. And I show these strange things that are happening out there, because that's what brought me back to God, was seeing how dark things had gotten. I was like, holy cow, it was all real. Why did I ever turn away from God? Because it's shocking at first when you wake up. And that's what's going to happen here, is we're going to have a lot of people that are very stunned by what's going on. Now, there's a reason they shut out news outlets like RT. Somebody over there was showing us glimpses of things. I showed a giant on my other channel, a very large individual walking around, and everybody else walking around with headsets, because I guess the voice maybe was deep. I don't know. But it was just a documentary, like film crew, and it was just a camera on the side of a street. But they were filming like what they thought an American city looked like, but they were playing like Dixie music or something, real old American music. I'm saying that for a reason, because these things seem to slumber for a long time and then they wake up. All these things are cyclical. They're happening. Everything goes hand in hand, right? I'm not going to talk about global warming, but I am going to talk about the damage that we can do to our environment, but also the damage that we do by transgression. And that means to go against nature, to go against natural law. With all of the dumping that's occurred, like that's what they should be talking about. All of the oil spills. Oil is the black goo, guys. That is the black goo monster that's in all those sci-fi movies. Is something goes wrong with an oil rig, right? Or it is the ink of the octopus, and the octopus is one of the beasts, the kraken. And they were talking about kraken nonstop. They're using all of these code words so that people don't freak out and panic. But it's very late now. I don't think there's going to be an election. I've been saying that since the last one. They're not going to have one. It's not going to happen. Almost every state now, if you look, is under, at least every state from like the Mississippi eastward, almost every state is under an emergency, a state of emergency for one reason or another. I mean, how much more do we have to warn people before everybody's going to be like, oh my God, you guys, it is happening. Have your hearts prepared. Have your spirits and souls prepared. And of course, you know, if you can prepare your family just to be more observant, to be cautious, try not to stick to a routine that is too predictable. That's not a good thing to do in general. It's just not good practice. So very young children will talk, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, meaning the farmlands. The full storehouses will suddenly be empty. There will not be anything to fall back on. Why? Where will it all go? Because I think it's being fed to something or someone. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. People are very unhinged right now. And I popped off this morning on customer care just because, like, nobody listens. Nobody hears what you're actually saying. Even regular people are sticking to these scripts, and if you try to like say, hey, this isn't like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not blaming you. I'm asking you, is this accurate or not? They don't veer away from the script, and it's maddening. You're supposed to be human beings. And I mean, it happens in person too. I don't know what to say anymore. Okay. So then we get into a few other things here. Now the other part, hold please. I took notes of which sections I wanted to talk to you guys about. So 2 Esdra 5:8, chasms will open up in many places. Okay, and we're seeing that already. We've seen a lot of, even over in Pittsburgh, the sinkholes over there. Like, it's just madness. And fire will be shot forth frequently, wild beasts will roam beyond their territory. Why? Because I don't know if you remember, but a lot of the wildfires, they look like it was the roots. The roots were on fire, like lava, bubbling lava, okay? This was in California. I don't know if you saw the videos or not. They're out there if you want to look. So beasts will roam beyond their territory. Why? Why do they go out of their home base? Because they can't find food, okay? Wild beasts. Now, these are not your normal every day. These are things that live like in the Yukon or in Yellowstone National Park. Okay, that's what we're talking about here. And I can't believe I'm going to say this. And the interdimensionals. That's all I'm going to say about that. Sasquatch. Okay. Do I think they're all wicked? No, I don't think anything is completely all wicked. God created things and called it good, right? It's just, we seem to always get to this point where we forget about God, and we get too big for our britches, and we try to do things that go again. We lose our common sense. We lose our sight of like, wait a second, we can't do this. Just because we can do it doesn't mean that we should go and do it. Should we be messing around with freezing embryos? Is that freezing life? And what happens when you unfreeze something? I mean, you guys know that, not to be weird, but food is always better fresh. When you freeze something, it loses something, right? So what's happening to the eggs and the embryos and whatnot that are being frozen? And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. The women with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 or 4 months old, and they shall be raised up. And suddenly, you guys saw that part. Okay, and it talks about the springs of the fountains shall stand still. And I'm wondering if that's talking about Old Faithful. And in 3 hours they shall not run. I guess meaning in 3 hours everything can shut down that quick. Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation in the end of your world. And men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth. I have an idea of what that might mean, but I don't want to talk about it here. And the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning. For evil shall be put out and deceit shall be quenched. So, I mean, it does get better. Okay, if you want to read the rest of it, you can. It's a conversation that's being had between Esdra and an angel. Well, a set of angels. Mark 13:17. This is called the Great Trial. I just grabbed the KJV version that's explained. Therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation standing where it does not belong, let the reader understand. We've talked about that being your mind, where Satan takes over the throne of your mind. And again, every verse has a literal meaning or a physical, material meaning and a spiritual implication as well. So we've talked about that, the abomination of desolation standing where it does not belong. And we've seen so much of that just with the satanic, with the 10 Commandments being taken down and all that. Then those who are in Judea must flee to the mountains. The one who is standing on the roof must not come down or go inside to take anything out of the house. Meaning, when this stuff goes down and you get the vibe that it's time to go, don't stop and grab anything. Don't worry about that. Go. Woe to those who are pregnant and those who are nursing infants in those days. Pray for all this may not occur, for in those days there will be such suffering as not been seen since the beginning of the creation that God made until now, and will never be again. And if the Lord had not cut short these days, no one will be saved, but for the sake of the elect whom he chose, he did cut short those days. Now, cut short those days, we can argue over this all along, but everybody's on different calendars, and oftentimes you don't understand prophecies until they start to happen. But again, prophets have one thing in common, and that's always telling people to repent. When a people repents, their lands are healed, and they are healed. Just like happened with Nineveh. They repented, so nothing happened. But they got naughty again, and something did happen. So why am I talking about this stuff? Okay. Because of this. We're going to look at this and this now. Where's the other one? I know there was another one. Shoot. Oh. Hold, please. Hang on, guys. Okay, so in case you didn't see this yet, I'm going to say this now. They already walked this back. They already said that this was an error, but again, there are people out there trying to get the truth out. There's a reason everything is so saturated. Some of the stories are wild. They are wanting to, when you're trying to cover up the truth, you really got to work extra hard, because truth always stands and it needs no defender, and it will always stand, even if it has to stand alone. It will be there. It is eternal, okay? And they know this, and this is why, again, they're supposed to be so much brighter than us, but I just, honestly, I'm exhausted with all of the games at this point. Like, just come out with it. It's just, enough is enough. So, initially, they reported an alarming increase in the U.S. maternal mortality rate. Now, again, the disclaimers are in the description. This is straight from the CDC, defined as maternal deaths per 100,000 live births, from 9.65 at the turn of the century to 32.9 in 2021. Now, there is a reason, right, exactly. It takes time, but you realize it's real once you start, even if, okay, say the media is faking all this, right? You can't fake natural disasters. Now, you can keep playing the same footage, and I don't deny that that's probably happening. But you can't fake that some of the changes we have seen. You can't fake all these blood moons. Like, I never heard a thing about anything like that until a couple years ago when it started happening. We are told the moon would turn to blood, and we say, well, we can predict these things now, but can we? Was all that information really there? Like this disease they're talking about now with seeing demon faces. In a few weeks or maybe a year or two, will anyone even realize that that was just slid right in real quick, like to cover this real convenient issue? I'm just amazed that some people seem to get it, the people who come to this channel, but it's so few. And I don't, again, it's not a posh channel. I don't have a studio. I don't have a talent agent. But I've been steady, consistent, and very faithful and loyal to the purpose and to the mission. And I, again, my background and my history is French Catholic and Italian. Well, that's in serious doubt at this point, but French Catholic is legitimate. And sometimes what people needs a revolution to be shook up, and that's what it takes for their spirits to be shook up. Unfortunately for some of us, but like Joan of Arc, I am not afraid. God asked me to do this, and so I do it. I get stalked, I still do it. I get persecuted in very strange and cruel ways, and still I do it. I will not shut up until, well, we all know what that means. The CDC has reported an alarming increase in the U.S. maternal mortality rate. So the rate was nearly doubled just since 2018. Do you see that? When it was what? Oh my God, 174. I've talked about that number. Can it just stop now, please? I need a break. Like, I just want to be around other people that don't think I'm crazy and people who are cool with God and not deal with any of this, with people stalking me or people being mean to me and gaslighting me, and not pretty much I got to worry about them messing with my food. Like, leave me. I just wanted to stop. I'm complaining. I'm supposed to forgive me. I could have it so much worse. The big C, number of diagnoses, and I think this is from Ireland. So that's what NI stands for. 18 to 49 age bracket up 20%. Okay? 20%. So, oh, hold up. Did I show you that? So we saw this first one, right? We're talking about women passing away as they're giving birth, right? What were we talking about them talking about before? Remember there was that article about is it ethical? Can comatose women be used as surrogates? Why are they asking that question? Are there so many comatose women just laying around somewhere that they're going to use as surrogates? And no offense, but where are all these people getting babies from? All these surrogate babies? Well, the mother wants to remain private. Is the mother doing well? Is she alive? Where is the mother? And now they're even talking on TikTok. And again, I'm not, believe me, my dad, I have a lot of soul. Let's just get that clear. I'm not going to defend not being racist. Like, I'm so sick of everybody talking about that as if it even, we have so much bigger things to talk about here. Like, honestly, I'm not trying to be some type of way, but we have more important things than to always be worrying about somebody's sensual preference and the color tone God painted somebody. Are we serious that we're not beyond all these things now? But most people aren't. And that's why they're putting it on the news out there in a massive way, because they want us to go at each other. It is a very anti-human agenda. Now ask yourself, who would have an anti-human agenda? Anti-humans. Things that are not of mankind. Okay? Things that cannot crush God, so they're trying to crush us. It's not fair. It seems uncool. But we don't deserve anything. We're given a shot and a chance to live and have eternal life at that. And we were given a beautiful, bountiful world that can grow pretty much anything for us. And industry and progress have gotten out of hand. And we don't have enough balance. And we have affected our environment, because when you transgress against nature, when you break natural law, I say go against God's law, but I know that even most atheists believe in natural law. The atheists who are a certain type of way, they're Satanists saying they're atheists. Anyways, this is all very anti-human, and these human beings that have signed on with this, our friends and family, it begins with treason. God told me a long time ago we didn't need to be worried about Russia, at least not right away. China should have been our concern. There were 2 ships that came in at the beginning of CV when all this started. One in the New York harbor, one in the LA harbor. Again, some of this stuff I bring up all the time because look at all the links. Now we have this showing up and this happening. Where are all these people going, and why are people just popping up with babies suddenly? Well, if they deserve their privacy. Do we... Okay, they might deserve privacy, but why do they need a baby? You're telling me they're allowed to buy a baby? They could subvert the whole adoption process. Why would they want to do that? And what are they doing with all of these babies? And where are these comatose women at that they even have to ask that question? But also, injectables could have a lot to do with that as well. Okay? So, if you ask me, all of this stuff is connected. Now, here they're talking to you about China's approach to surrogacy. It's self-defeating, it says. Fake birth certificates have long been a hot niche in China. In past decades, couples would seek them out in order to get around the one-child policy. Now that's been changed. If you want to read the rest of that, you have to log in and all that. I just wanted to show you this is out there. And surrogacy is a big topic right now. Why is it so big? Ask yourself why they want all these babies brought into the world at this time. You'll be surprised once you get the answer. Why did Esdras say that women were only pregnant for 4 months? In the show Supernatural, I forgot to finish that thought. In the show Supernatural, again, pop culture, a woman in it is pregnant, and she's pregnant with a hybrid baby, and she's only pregnant for 4 months because everything is accelerated. And the child turns into an adult in really quick. Okay, and I know that, again, I know how this sounds. So they're using the big C word again. But what is going on here? Why is this? Why are they relating it? What did I tell you the other day? Why did Bob Marley, and I'll show you. Let's just take a look at that. If you've never seen it. If you don't know one of the greatest musicians who's ever lived. How did he acquire this? Melanoma in 81, when a dark spot appeared where? Under his toenail. Why was it under his toenail? Do you know that sometimes junkies, and again, I know this from working in healthcare and knowing junkies, sometimes to hide certain things, they use their toes, right? To hide injectables sites. The story's been debunked, they're saying, but there is a story, there is a rumor, there is a conspiracy theory that Bob Marley was poisoned by the CIA. What did I say the other day? God had made it very obvious to me that they are able to give this to people. It is not something that everyone has to have. You ever wonder why certain people do really well, even though they're kind of crappy individuals, and why it seems like the best people always have something go wrong? Because they're giving it to people. I was told that was one of the things that was screamed at me during the first abuse session. When I said, "Why are you doing this to me?" And he said, "'Cause you went to church." Whoa, okay. You didn't even say 'cause I strayed or 'cause I drank too much. You straight up said 'cause I went to church and repented, babe. Like, what? What are you talking about? One of the things he screamed at me is, "You're gonna get cancer." Yeah, 'cause I gotta tell you what they're gonna do. They gotta put it right in front of your face, just like Ryan Garcia said. He's not lying. But he's probably under a lot of pressure, and if he still thinks he's gonna fight, he's gonna have to drop all that talk. Maybe go to rehab or some type of thing. Because you can't be talking like that. You can't be talking like I'm talking. I don't have no bodyguards. Nobody watches over me. Well, Sammy. Sammy is my security. Bob Marley, one love, man. Zion. Ugh. They can't have people putting, just like Bill and Ted, right? Evil wanted to stop Bill and Ted because their music was going to change the world. When you get your frequency up to a certain point, they can't affect you. They literally aren't allowed to touch you because you are so much above them. It's legitimate. That's why I was talking about light frequencies earlier. All of this goes together. And again, there's a superficial way you can pick these people out. They always wear the dark sunglasses. They always got tooth problems. No offense. Again, this is not blanket statements. This doesn't mean I hate people that look like this. This is symbolically me interpreting things to try and help people wake up and say, we're not alone. Something really wicked and nasty is going on, and you need to shout loud and proud, I do not consent. I am a free-willed being. I am sovereign, and I have authority over you. And I'm taking my free will back right now. And then you give it up to the Most High and you say, please take this for me because I keep messing everything up. I say that every day, pretty much. Okay, so there's another part to this, and I just forgot it because I got on a little thing there. And again, I would appreciate the thumbs up just to let me know that somebody is taking away something from me, compiling all this information and literally losing sleep and praying for hours at a time over these issues and for our world. For love of God, family, and country, man. That's just why I'm doing it. Okay, so there was another part to this, and now I can't think of what it was, and it's really going to bother me. I was watching a Catholic sermon from about 10 years ago about the end times, and there, some of the things that some of the things that saints have allegedly had visions about over the years and whatnot, and one of the things really hit home because I had mentioned this to some of you. Oh, yeah, this is their way of saying, if you're this way, you're probably going to get that. Meaning, if you're a hater, if you're a Christian, if you're a Catholic, isn't it funny how many people are suddenly showing up with a big C? They are telling you that they pretty much give it. They pick and choose who gets it. And this is who's going to get it. People who speak out against the rainbow hijackers, like I did in 2017, which, again, snowballed all this. They're not kind people. They're not people anymore. And I mean, some are, and I love them. I have a brother and sister in that community. I have no problem with the human beings. It's the nasty ones from behind the scenes that are kind of trying to push mankind to do this wickedness. Because regular man doesn't think of some of these things on their own. The problem with these individuals is that they've gotten dangerous now. A double-minded man or woman is unstable in all of their ways, and they want you to tolerate them, but they're not tolerating you. They are being hypocritical. Sadducees, Pharisees, they've been handed over to a reprobate state, and when that happens, people are dangerous. I can see it in the people I live with. Every day, a little bit further. Every single day. And the 8th is going to be another marker. Whether something happens that literally shakes the literal ground, or it shakes humankind, it is going to happen. Because I've seen a serious degradation 3 times now in people on certain dates. And that's going to be another one of them. And I'm not a date setter, and I'm not saying anything like that. But you need to remember that if we are in the end days, anyone shooting for purgatory or something like, different levels, that's not going to be an option anymore. Not after judgment comes for everybody. There won't be no need for a purgatory. Purgatory will be done. And what's funny is, I told you guys this earlier on an earlier video, I prayed that I could get my purgatory out of the way here. I prayed for that, and I told you guys about it way back, probably about a year ago. And I just heard a sermon yesterday from about 7 years ago, because you have to go back to get good information anymore, before pre-2017. And I went back to a sermon, and it was telling you how your purgatory will be here. That is why the end time saints will have to endure so much, is because we are living through our purgatory. Oh my God, I just got the chills. And I've said that so many times, and to hear that type of confirmation, like, to me, that makes sense. It's not any woo-woo thing. It just makes sense. And I know a lot of people don't believe in purgatory, and I know a lot of Protestants hate Catholics, and you think we're idolaters. We got to get over that real quick. We have a common enemy, and we need to be united in prayer and praying against that. But I know a lot of Protestants are lost as of this point too. Some of the leaders of the flocks, and I've shown you videos in the Black Eye Club, have gone astray. Something is happening to people. And that's, again, what showed me the Catholic Church is the true church, because Satan wouldn't be shaking it up the way he is if it wasn't the true church. Like, he just wouldn't. So basically, they're telling you here that you're going to get that. If they think you're a bigot or a racist or a hater, you're going to get that. Now let me talk a little bit about false resurrection. The kingdom of Satan counterfeits everything. Everything. Remember how I told you it's weird that all the people from the last few years who have gone missing or who have passed away are seen right before in a picture given the peace sign. Remember? And I've done so many videos on what that actually means and what's going on there. But I think those are going to be the people involved in the false resurrection. That bit of information was given to me yesterday because the book says that God's people shall rise first. Okay? I think Satan is going to have some type of false resurrection, or those are going to be the people that are resurrected. Because I had a couple NDEs since 2017, so I've already risen a couple of times again. Anyways, I just wanted to get that out there. We have to be very discerning at this time, and we have to understand what disinformation and propaganda is, and we have to take it even deeper than we ever thought we'd have to go. Because people who don't know about this are going to be dangerous. Now, again, I don't think there's going to be an election. I would not vote anyway. You are not getting me to vote for demons. Like, I'm not doing that. I don't care who says what or what type of guilt trip they try to put on me. This is not, they might say, well, this is the time you should vote. Your vote matters. No, 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 no. It's been made very clear to me that is a spiritual bondage. There probably will not be an election. Almost every state at this point is under a state of emergency. Check your area. Check your tri-state area, the states around you. Start there. Make sure you know where the nearest nuclear site is, just for safety purposes. Make sure you know where there's fresh water near you. There's an app called All Trails. I have it. It shows you all the trails everywhere. You could even download maps or print things out. Have things printed out. Don't rely on digital copies anymore. You need hard copies of things. Birth certificates, social security cards, whatever is important to you. I'm doing the little bit that I know how to do. I think that's all I have to say for today. I might add a few shorts in the next few days from this video, just so, again, the more people that and again, I'm not doing any great service. I'm just trying to point out this is a dangerous time. And you need to be very careful with who you're around and who you're putting your family around, and especially who you're putting your children around, because your children are already indoctrinated. And a lot of this is coming from their cooperation, because their idols are a big part of this. Elon Musk and some royalty out there. We're all royalty in the body of Christ. I love you guys. If you're new here, I thank you for listening. I thank you for hanging out with me. I pray that God blesses you today. No matter what creed or nation you're from, we are all neighbors, and what I do today could affect what you do tomorrow. So I am trying to be more conscious about that. And yeah. So I do have some skills, like I know how to fish and basic things that I've picked up from watching videos. So if you ever want a video like that, it would have to be like survival skills for dummies. But yeah, I could do one of those. I used to do them occasionally. Anyways, we'll talk soon. You guys have a great day and be blessed. Bye.